Hello, my name is Everett Vanderhorst. I am a pastor at Meadowlands Fellowship Christian Reformed Church and a part of the leadership team at Toward CRC Canada, a group advocating for a distinct CRC in Canada. We have been working to see that come about through a restructuring of the CRCNA into two sibling denominations, one on each side of the Canada-US border. That proposal, which is Overture 28 in the 2025 Agenda for Synod, will be formally considered in June by the delegates gathered at Redeemer University right here in Ancaster, Ontario. I want to spend a few minutes sharing with you our vision for what a Canadian Christian Reformed church would look like. First of all, I want to state clearly that we are not seeking to become an anti-American denomination. We in Canada are grateful for over a century of welcome, support, and partnership with the U.S. side of the church. I myself served as a pastor in Michigan for 11 years at Shawnee Park CRC in Grand Rapids. Chris and I have family and friends in the United States. We don't want to be a part of a church that looks south with animosity. Toward CRC Canada is looking forward to continued collegiality and partnership across the border. We foresee that shared ministry initiatives, programs, and resources will be navigated as equal partners through continued use of the Joint Ministry Agreement framework that is already in use. But international partnerships would not be limited to the U.S. As a distinctly Canadian denomination, we would be able to take our place at the global table alongside CRCs in Nigeria, Costa Rica, the Philippines, and elsewhere. Such sister denominations would hear our full and unfiltered Canadian voice. Also, a Canadian CRC with our own synod would facilitate greater collaboration across the country. There is a genuine, homegrown expression of our Reformed tradition to be found here north of the border, the evidence of which is the unique collection of domestic ministries launched from among us and supported by ministry share pledges, from diaconal ministries to Indigenous ministry to the Center for Public Dialogue. At a Canadian Synod, we will have room to build a church that resonates with, ministers to, and rightly challenges Canada's unique cultural context. By gathering as a deliberative ecclesiastical assembly, Canadians will have the necessary time and space to put our heads and hearts together to address matters from theological reflections for mission to appropriate and timely domestic disaster response. Having our own synod will also address the problem of ministry accountability. Churches and classes will finally have a forum to address our Canadian Ministry Board directly by way of overtures and shared discussion of ministry priorities and goals. None of this would require building a new structure from scratch. We already have a denominational office in Burlington equipped with dedicated and capable ministry leaders. We are hopeful about a Canadian CRC because we have seen that Canadians have a great capacity for working and partnering in ministry across differences. This isn't surprising because we live in a country that is intentional about building a society that is a mosaic of many cultures. We have had to learn to be respectful of differences. That can come to expression in a church that leaves local ministry decisions to be made at the local council level by leaders who are knowledgeable about their own calling and their own context. Even in such a church, we will express care and love for one another through an accountability that builds unity and not a legislated and enforced uniformity. Now, this leads me to a question that we at Toward CRC Canada are asked often. Will your Canadian CRC deliberate and debate all over again the recent controversial decisions around the definition of unchastity, confessional status, and the use of gravamina? The main point we'd like to make on this question is this. It isn't our synod, nor our denomination that we're advocating for. As a group of individuals leading a movement, we don't have the right or the authority to dictate what the CRC in Canada ought to do or to be. That said, I think it is quite likely that the question of how we in Canada need to navigate these matters will come to a Canadian Synod for discussion. Synod will receive, discuss, and make decisions about all overtures that are received from Canadian members, councils, and classes. Given the contentiousness of recent CRC-NA decisions, I think these questions will certainly be brought forward for deliberation among us. And we will do that deliberation, that work, thoughtfully, carefully, and respectfully. So will restructuring into a Canadian CRC, distinct and on our own, will that solve all of the problems among us? No, but it will be our problems that we wrestle with together. Thanks for watching.